Imagine for a moment, if you will, that you could just snap your fingers and characters from your favorite franchise would just be gone. A lot like the Thanos snap did, except you could choose which characters are gone. Well, that's what I asked fans this week. If you could get rid of one Transformers character, never existed, who would it be? Welcome to Monday, welcome to Countdown Day. Our topic this time around, what one Transformers character would you get rid of? That's our focus in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course subscribe, and while you are at it, light 'em up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, let you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that's in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. And like I said, this is meant to be, if you could just snap your fingers and one Transformers character is just gone from existence, they never happened, who would that one character be? A lot of people struggled with the word one this time around. I had to disqualify many votes because people were saying whole lines or they were giving me 5 or 6. That's not how it works. That's not what one means. This here, singular, one, is one. However, we did get hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of votes that did follow the rules. And a very interesting tie at number 4 that I didn't expect and didn't plan, but kind of cool how it worked out. You'll see when we get there. We do have some honorable mentions. These ones almost made the list. They certainly had votes. They did not make the list. So who are they? They include Unicron, because a giant planet robot, some people said just not realistic. Starscream, that one surprised me, specifically the Prime Starscream, though I like that character. Rung, don't know enough about the character, but a lot of people said he's just so forgetful, meaning you forget that he exists. Huffer, because he complains a lot, and Broadside, because he is the embodiment of a living criticism, being both a plane and an aircraft carrier. Those guys did not make the list. They didn't have enough votes, so who did? You know what we're going to do? We're going to do as we always do, and we're going to kick things off with number 10. You know where I'm going with this. First. Coming in at number 10 to kick us off, we have this guy. That's right, it's Primacron. And you know what? Not for nothing. At first I was like, why are people voting for this character? But it made more sense the further we went. After all, how did this one little guy manage to build a gigantic robot like Unicron and then an energy monster like Tortoise all by himself? How old is he? How long did this take without any help? And then when Tortoise was kind of going crazy and devouring planets, he didn't even have enough sense to hit the reverse button. Grimlock had to do it. It seems highly unlikely that he would have the technical know-how to create such gigantic robots, monsters, creatures that cause chaos, basically. I get it. He's not a realistic creator, and that's why Primacron takes the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we have this. That's right, it's Revenge of the Fallen Devastator. To be fair, the other versions of Devastator had a few votes too, but clear winner was the Revenge of the Fallen Devastator. A lot of people said he doesn't stand upright. He seems more like a slobbering pet and a savage than having any sort of strategy. Plus, did anybody really need the wrecking balls, if you know what I mean? Yeah. Bayverse live action Revenge of the Fallen Devastator takes the number 9 slot. Coming in at number 8 is one of the most annoying of all human characters, and this guy. Yeah, it's Daniel. It's Daniel. Oh, Daniel, from the moment he got introduced while he was fishing, right up until he became a headmaster for RC. Everybody said every time the kid opened his mouth, he was whining and annoying, and if he wasn't, then he was being reckless and careless. I get it. I agree. Daniel, you needed to have Spike do some better fathering or something, because you are one annoying little twit. And for that reason, you take the number 8 slot. Coming in at number 7, we go to the live action universe, and this guy. It's Squeaks. Of course, we all know that Squeaks was supposed to be the cute little sidekick for The Last Knight, and kind of take the role of like an R2-D2 type of character. Didn't really happen, didn't really do much in the movie. I mean, a couple of things, sure, for sure, but not a main character, and certainly not like a main Autobot. I'm not even sure if Squeaks was entirely self-aware, if I'm honest. Interesting alt mode, definitely interesting armament, but kind of a lackluster character, and for that reason he takes the number 7 slot. Coming in at number 6, we have this character. It's Botanica from Beast Machines, and Botanica turns into like a Cybertronian plant, and a lot of people said, look, her alt mode is literally useless. Yes, she's supposed to have some sort of power, but she's only ever appeared in that fiction. It's not the most well-known or well-received fiction. She didn't have a lot of characterization. There wasn't a lot of depth to her, and a lot of people said, hey, you could take her out with a lawnmower. Doesn't really seem like much of an epic character. Although that being said, while I do agree with all of that, not gonna lie, I personally would love to have a version of Botanica in my collection, just because. However, fans think that she's a terrible character, bad enough that she took the number 6 slot. And now a hush falls over the crowd because we've reached the ever-coveted, ever-popular halfway mark. And at the halfway mark this time, we have another human character who probably should never have existed within Transformers. And I absolutely agree with this because it is, bar none, the most annoying of all human characters, and it's this guy. That's right, it's Kicker. Man, do I detest Kicker. He's annoying, he's complaining, he grumbles, he's insubordinate, he's not really very smart, he's a brat. And for that reason, he takes the number 5 slot. Now, number 4 is a bit of a wild ride. I'm not gonna lie. These two characters were actually counted separate, but they ended up tying with the exact same number of votes, and it's really fitting for these two. Skids and Mudflap. I actually disqualified a bunch of votes when people tried to vote for them and said they're brothers or they're twins or they had the ice cream truck mode. They weren't counted as one, and for a long time Mudflap was way out ahead. But then Skids, later in the voting, ended up really catching up to the point where they had the exact same number of votes. And honestly, while I have to make it fair to everyone, and if I say one vote for each voter, then I have to stick to it, I'm kind of glad that these guys tied, because Skids and Mudflap are offensive at worst and annoying at best, and probably never ever should have happened in the live action movies or any other iteration for that matter. Skids and Mudflap from the live action movies, Revenge of the Fallen, if I'm not mistaken, take the number 4 slot. Number 3 is this guy. It's Bumblebee. Now I know that this is the Bay vs. Bumblebee, and the live action Bay vs. Bumblebee got the most votes. Though there were a few for G1, there were a few for Prime. There were some people who just said every iteration of Bumblebee. But again, by far the live action movie version where, they took away his voice and they gave him a voice box, much like Prime, where they gave him a completely different alt mode than what he's supposed to have, and where somebody even said he didn't even have his horns that he had in G1. I get it. A lot of people just said, other than being yellow, he's not much of an homage to what Bumblebee traditionally was. And enough fans felt that way that Bay vs. Bee, never ever existing. I don't know, but it took the number 3 slot. Ooh, and now we are into the top 2. And at number 2 we have this guy. Rodimus Prime / Hot Rod. I put those votes together. And people that voted for him said the obvious things. They didn't like him being French in live action, if that was your thing. But most of the votes were for G1, and they said, look, he's the whole reason that Optimus got taken out. Some people have argued and said, no, Optimus would have been taken out anyway. I'm not of that camp. I believe it was Hot Rod's fault. Some people said, as a leader, he was a terrible leader. Now, I get it. A lot of people argue and say, hey, he really grew as a leader, especially in Bird and Hardest to Bear. I don't know. I'm baffled why anybody thinks that, or feels that, because I'm with the voters on this one. The voters said he didn't want to be leader. He resented having the Matrix. He was reckless with it. He gave it back to a zombie. He made fun of Sandstorm when his planet got destroyed. Under his leadership, Cybertron got destroyed. He said he was going to leave and find a new home world, and then we never ever saw him again. Somehow, some way, the Matrix ended up coming back around. But like, I get it. I get the criticisms from the voters. And guess what? Enough of them criticized Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime that he was able to take the number 2 slot. And now here we are, very tippy top number 1 Transformers character that never ever ever should have existed. If they could be gone, then fans would want this character gone the most, and it's this guy. It's Wheelie. Are we shocked? Now, a few people said the live action Wheelie was even worse, and I get it. The live action Wheelie was crass, rude, brash, and the G1 Wheelie was annoying, kind of in the way, and really, he was just a buddy to Daniel. I mean, get rid of Wheelie, get rid of Daniel. Nobody likes either of them. Wheelie, easily to understand why, by far took the number 1 slot. And there you go, man. 10 down to 1 once again. And other ones that had votes include Spike, Autobot X, Dark of the Moon Sentinel Prime, Animated Sentinel Prime, RID Sideburn, IDW Starsaber. I thought that was an interesting one. Energon Ironhide. Yes, he kicks around with Kicker. Abdul, Fakid? I'm not sure how to say the last name, but it's the guy who rules Carbamia in the G1 episode. The whole reason that Casey Kasem quit, which of course lost a whole bunch of voices, right? Animated Sunstorm, IDW Anode, the Beast from the Marvel Comics run. Revenge of the Fallen Demolisher specifically. Let's see, Animated Mixmaster, because he's not what the Constructicon should be. Revenge of the Fallen, for kind of not doing much of anything but bossing everyone around. Energon Optimus Prime, live action Optimus Prime. The Ark didn't need a robot mode, just needs to be a ship. Rat Trap, Spider-Man from the original Marvel run. Erector, the one that they call Pablo, which of course is Wheeljack from Rise of the Beast. Blaster, Sam Witwicky, Cade Yeager, Punch Counterpunch, the Scuzzoid, I can't remember his name now. Octane, what was the Soker? No, what was the Scuzzoid? I can't remember his name now. Tarn, Bot from that one episode. 1 vote for Nightshade, which I'm glad of because there was only 1 bigot that came out this time. Skylynx, Kiss Players Megatron, who is just wildly inappropriate. Swoop, Holler, because he's really an animation error. Energon Bulkhead. What else do we have here? AOE Shane Dyson. Man, oh man, like he has the Romeo and Juliet thing laminated to justify his relationship with an underage girl. It was gross. The Matrix, Prowlestator, Bulkhead, Primus, Windblade, Megatron. All together, without Megatron, there'd be no war, right? Jetfire, that one surprised me. Specifically G1 Jetfire. Frenzy, Red, because that way Rumble would exist and he would only be blue. That's what the voter said. Day Trader, Victorion, Overlord, Kranix. Whoo! And is that it? Is that about it? I think that might be about it. If it's not, that's a lot of votes of characters that probably should never have existed within Transformers. Them and more. Let me know if your favorites made the list or not. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course hit the join button at any given time and become a channel member. While you're at it, hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us here on the channel, and don't forget, not for a moment, not for a second, please and thank you, that somehow, someway, each and every single day, you right there, you do make a difference in the world. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way, right here, inside the videos.